Hey guys, it's Saturday and I'm in the studio, not for mixing, not for mastering, but because I need to rewire the entire studio. I want to do that because I just received a Flock audio patch, so I need to add that to the setup. That means I need to connect every single piece of gear to the Flock. Since I'll be doing that, I thought that this is a good opportunity for me to show you how every single piece of gear in the studio is connected. Everything from the converters, because a lot of you guys asked me specific questions on how I have everything connected and talking to each other. The studio is a mess, so I have to get going. This is going to take me probably all day. I want to remove all gear from the rack. I want to make sure that I find the best place for that gear. Next week, I hope that the VSM2 from Vertigo Sound will arrive and I will have that ready to go in my setup. This is the patch. I have to connect everything to it. So this is what I'm gonna do today. First thing that I wanna do is to remove the clutter from the studio. I wanna remove the pieces of gear that I'm not using anymore. I already have like another rack. I will probably install that in that rack. For example, pieces of gear like the connector here. What else I have? Summing mixer from Tegeler. Those are pieces of gear that I'm not currently using and I want to free up the space. I also want to take out all the cables, all the bullshit, everything from the studio. So I have like a clean, fresh slate. Quick update. I managed to remove the PC. I managed to take out all the blank panels from the desk. The type of panel that I really like is this half a unit. I think it looks really nice and I want to do that for the entire desk. It's really important for me to ensure proper ventilation of the gear. That's because I paid a lot of hard earned money on the gear and I want to prolong the life as much as possible. Heat is one of the enemy of analog hardware, so leave spaces above and below the units if possible. That way you can ensure that your gear lasts longer. PC out, blank panels out. Now I have to get behind the desk and probably I will remove all the cables because with time, even though it didn't pass that much time, I've changed a lot of gear and things got messy again. And now I just want to make sure that I do like the final cable management for the desk. I want to take out the cables that I don't need because I know the gear that I have coming. I know exactly what cables I need and what I don't need. I want to take that out. Update. I hate doing this. Let me show you how messy a home studio can be. I managed to take out a couple of the cables that are needed to run the studio. There are quite a few cables. Let me show you in the back. Still a couple of cables in the back. The next thing that I have to do is sort all the cables out, put this thing back together via the patch from Flock Audio. Messy. But I hope that this will be a cool and full of useful information video about cabling and how I connect everything in the studio. So one eternity later, I am behind the desk and the first step that I want to show you, and this is probably the most important step, is how to connect your interface with converters. I will turn the camera around and I will show you how I connect all the converters. Let me explain first the setup. This right here is the RME UFX Plus. This is the main hub of the studio. Everything is connected here and I'm doing this because I am a big fan of the stability of the RME. No issue whatsoever in all the time that I've been using the interface with drivers, with sample rates and other things. So the first piece that's connected to the RME UFX is the Dangerous AD+. This is the Dangerous. The connection between the AD Plus and the RME is made via AAS cable like this, the cable that I'm using for that connection. So out of the Dangerous AD Plus and back into the RME UFX Plus. This is the first connection. That's how the Dangerous is connected to the RME. AAS via an XLR cable. Next is the other converter. The Dangerous AD Plus is an analog to digital converter. This one is the Burl B16 digital to analog. This is connected to the UFX Plus. You can see these cables, those are MADI. The connection between the Burl B16 and UFX Plus is made via MADI. MADI going out from the UFX, MADI going in B16. That's the connection. When it comes to clocking, I am using the AD Plus as the main clock. The clock out from the Dangerous. First, I'm going into the RME. In, I have a splitter right here. You can see it. Split the wall clock going into the B16. At the end of the B16, I have another splitter and I have an ending. UFX Plus is connected to my PC via USB. Let's sum things up with this basic connections. We have the connection between the Dangerous and the UFX made by AAS. We have the connection from UFX to the B16 made by MADI. All those are linked together by the UFX, and the AD Plus is the main master clock for all three units. You can see that below the UFX Plus I have the Ferrofish Pool 16. The connection between the Pool 16 and the UFX Plus is made by cables like this, optical fiber cables. I still have the ADAT empty on the UFX, so I guess that I can connect those two units together. That's what I want to do right now, so I will expand the UFX with the Ferrofish. So this is how everything is connected. I know it sounds a bit complicated. It isn't. I'm using all connections from the UFX. I'm taking advantage of that. That's why the RME UFX Plus is such a powerful tool, because it has ADAT for the Ferrofish, it has AS for the Dangerous, it has MADI for the Burl. It acts like the perfect hub in a hybrid setup. It's time to connect the Pool 16 and I will get to you later. So now that we have the interface and the converters connected, it's time to talk about how I actually connect the audio gear to the converters. Again, the connection is not that complicated. Before, when I was using the connector, that was the centerpiece of the setup. Now I want to try out the patch from Flock Audio. The first thing that I want to do is just to have the converters running through the patch to see how is the noise floor, to see if I have any issue with it. To connect the converters to the Flock Audio patch bay, I need DB25 cables. This sort of connection at one end, and at the other end you have XLRs in my case, because all the gear that I have uses XLRs. I'm gonna connect two cables like this, one in, one out, and at the other end I will have the converters, and I will do just a quick test. Let's hope that everything goes well. Another day in the life of an unlucky mixing engineer. Bad news, I cannot make the patch to work properly. It has some background noise, it distorts the audio signal. All I did was create a loop from the DA to the AD via the patch. I'm waiting for advice, suggestions from the kind people where I bought the patch. But until then, next week I have to work. The initial plan was to hardwire, so cable to cable from gear to gear is in place. I have a bunch of high-end cables, some more cables, and that's what I will do. I will connect the DA to all the gears till I get to the AD+. The crazy thing about this idea is that the DA to AD chain, the mastering chain, is incredibly quiet. It's perfect for mastering. I did a test where I had the DA connected directly to the AD and measured that loop, and it's silent. That's my, let's call it, issue that I have with this decision. I know that when you are trying to add functionality to a setup like this, you are sacrificing quality. I can get the best quality out of all my gear by simply connecting them one to each other. Yeah, I think all the gear that I have has true bypass. If I don't want a piece of gear in the mastering chain, I can just bypass it, turn it off. That way I can keep everything really clean. This is not particularly bad news, it's just, it sucks, and I hope that I can make the patch to work in the setup, because the functionality the Flock Audio patch bay adds to a setup like this is just insane. For example, as you know, I have a VSM2 on the way that has two inserts that can be mid-side. What I can do with the patch, I can connect the patch to those inserts, and then I am able to use any piece of gear that I have in mid-side, and I can use an EQ, the music cue, on the mid section and the massive passive on the sides. Crazy. I can send the left channel into the right channel. I can do all sorts of crazy routing. I will keep you updated. Let me show you the mess. That's my home studio. As you can see, cables everywhere, gear everywhere. Desk is in not so great shape. Look at this mess. It's time to clean things up and put everything back. See you soon. Hate it. I hate it. I managed to cable everything, like I've said, wire to wire, one gear going into the other. The loudest noise floor, it's on the massive passive, but in there we have tubes. Still a really big mess in the studio. This is how it looks. Pretty nice. First in the chain I have the music cue, then I have the compressor, massive passive, envelope. One of the reasons why I got the patch, it would give me the ability to use mono pieces of gear so I can process vocals, but I think that I found a workaround. The distressor and the depressor on the same mastering chain at the end on the left channel. So we have music cue, compressor, massive passive, envelope, the stressor, the erasor, then that goes into the AD+. The right channel goes from the envelope straight into the AD+. The left channel goes into the distressor and the erasor, then into the AD+. That allows me to have one big vocal chain, the left part plus the distressor and the small 500 series. I think that's a pretty cool vocal chain, but let's see how it goes with the patch. I hope that I can make the patch work within reasonable noise floor, because that thing is amazing with what it can do. Still a lot of work to do, but it's done for the moment. Unfortunately, the VSM2 will arrive next week. Then I have to do this again. It's time to clean this mess up. Let's end the day right here.